Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for this video I have another process working on a 6x8 spread in my current scrapbook. I have the back of the pocket page from the Lizzie McGuire spread, and then next to it I will have a layout. And so I've already put my photographs in the pocket pages so you see it there, but I'll probably take them out and make sure that they're adhered correctly and stuff like that. But I am starting with the layout, and for this spread I'm actually documenting when I got onto the Felicity Jane creative team. And so I printed out the little announcement photo that went up on Instagram. I printed that out, and in the pocket pages I just have some of the projects that I have already done for Felicity Jane, just kind of showcased in the pockets there. And so I am doing this layout on top of a Felicity Jane planner divider. I believe this divider, the white with the black polka dots, that divider was from the Brooke kit. I believe it was from Brooke. And I'm using that as my base, but I actually trimmed down some of the pink floral paper from the Catherine kit, and I am going to layer that on top of the polka dot divider, making sure to leave like a little border around it. So it's going to be the border, and then the main bit of the page is going to be the pink paper, and I'm going just to build my cluster on top of that. So you see me here trimming down that pink paper. It's the pink paper with the faint white floral on top of it. It's very pretty. I don't know how well you'll see it on camera, but it's very pretty. But I've just trimmed it down so that it fits onto the divider, and then the divider leaves a little border around the edge. And now I'm just building up my cluster. So what I did was I matted the photo on top of some of the mint polka dot paper. All the papers that I'm using is from the current Catherine kit, and I just back that with a doily, and then a glycine bag, and then a little manila tag coming out of the edge there. You'll see me here, I am trying to layer more papers from the kit behind that cluster that I made. So I'm cutting down this black and white scallopy sort of paper, and I just play around with just layering different papers and things behind my photo. So I have that glycine bag there, and my intention was to use that as added texture, but then to tuck in a library card from the Catherine kit to do my journaling, so I could have some hidden journaling there. So that's why I have that behind there, and you saw that I actually folded it in half because it's a little bit too long to house a 3x4 journaling card, and I didn't want the card to fall into the pocket. I wanted it to be peeking up at the top. And so that is my little cluster. I actually put that aside. I do work on it some more, but I am now trimming down some of the Catherine papers into 2x2 squares so that I can fill in some of the gaps in the pocket page. And so I have 4 photos and then 4 empty pockets. I only needed squares for 2 of the empty pockets, as one pocket has acetate, and I just kind of leave that acetate as is, and the other one has this starburst die cut. And so what I'm doing here is kind of tracing out that starburst die cut, and my intention was just to cut it out and then glue it onto the back of the die cut. But what I ended up doing instead is just gluing the die cut right onto that square piece of paper that I just cut out, and then fussy cutting around so that I still retain that starburst shape. And this is quite a long process of just me kind of cutting everything, because I still wanted the die cut to look sort of free floating. I didn't want it on the Lizzie McGuire page. I didn't want you to see that yellow background of the square piece of the Felicity Jane paper that I used. And so I'm just cutting it, and since I glued the die cut onto the yellow side, the other side is actually the star paper. I feel like that's from Catherine. I know it's from a Felicity Jane kit, and I believe it is Catherine. If it's not Catherine, it's definitely Hope. I think it was just a piece from my stash, so I don't know, but all these papers are from the Felicity Jane kits, and again, I would always leave a link down below to the kits that I use on my projects. So you see there, I just kind of fussy cut, so now it's a nice cute little star background, and my intention for those places, those pockets that just have pattern paper in them, I'm just going to do some little embellishing using probably the puffy stickers and the chipboard stickers and stuff like that. So you see here I took the Catherine puffies and I'm putting one, like a circle puffy. I believe it says happy on it, or happy day, and it's that yellow, and I just kind of put it there in the middle of the starburst. At some point my camera did cut out, but all I did was add more paper to the back of my cluster there, and you saw that I glued down my photograph onto the paper cluster, and I am just kind of ruffling up some of the edges of the paper, and now I'm embellishing. So I'm using bits from the die cut pack and more of the puffy stickers. You see that I just put one of the library cards into that pocket, and in my little pocket pages I just layered up some of the die cuts from the Catherine kit, and they will go onto those blank squares. So here I'm working on my squares. I'm taping together the two pieces of paper because I don't want anything to move in the pockets, and now I'm just gluing down the die cuts onto that square. And you'll see that when I add things to my pockets, I do a mixture of in the pocket embellishing and then embellishing on top of the pockets. So like thicker elements like the puffy stickers or the chipboard, I tend to put on the outside of the pockets instead of the inside because, you know, if they're inside the pocket, it tends to bulk up, you know, kind of like bulk up the plastic, and sometimes it warps, and I don't like that. I like everything to be in the pocket to be pretty much flat, and anything that's dimensional would be outside the pocket. So here I'm just going about and taping all of the pieces together on both sides of the pocket. For the Lizzie McGuire pocket page, I did use some unconventional shapes, and so not everything is aligned perfectly, but it's completely fine. I try my best to align them as best I can and trim off excess, etc. So that's what I'm doing now with all of my pockets, and then I will continue to embellish some of the emptier pockets. So here I'm looking through the Lola chipboard, and I'm using these the mini alphas, also from the Lola kit, and I'm trying to figure out where I can put, like, not a title but more of a sentiment. I decide on that pocket where I have the two heart embellishment pieces to write out Dream Team in the puffies, in the mini alphas from the Lola kit. And so you see that I started doing it there, and then I kind of got sidetracked and was trying to look for other things that I can possibly put there. But I ended up settling on using those alphas to write out Dream Team. On the polka dot paper, the mint polka dot, I actually do use some of the chipboard pieces from the Lola kit, and I took out two pieces that say happy and creative, and I end up using those there on the outside of the pocket. So it's a happy creative, because this spread is literally all about being on the Felicity Jane team and the creative projects that I've done so far on the team. And so I thought happy creative is definitely a good sentiment to have on the pockets. And then of course Dream Team, because this was one of my dream teams, was the Felicity Jane team, and so that ends up being there. I play around a lot with those alphas though. Eventually I do settle on having them a bit more centered than I put them here, I believe. But yeah. So here I took out some of the Felicity Jane epoxy stickers and I added another heart to that little heart cluster pocket there. So now I'm gluing everything down on my cluster, my little photo cluster here that I'm going to put on the, to create the little layout, and gluing that cluster onto the glycine bag now that I have the card that I want in it. And before I put it down onto the page, I realized that there's a lot of stuff missing, or there'll be a lot of blank space under the little cluster because I kind of want the cluster to be higher up on the page. So after I taped down the pink paper onto my divider, I actually do go and get some white acrylic. This is my favorite white acrylic ink, and I do some splattering on my page. So you see here that I was about to tape down my little cluster, and then I realized that it would have so much of that blank space there, and I knew that I wanted my journaling to be hidden in the card, so I didn't know what to put in that space. So I figured, let me do some splattering, let me have some paint splatters coming down sort of in that space where I would have to add something else, before I put down my cluster. And so that's what I did there, and now I'm just kind of repositioning all of my embellishments back on to the page. And you see here how the white ink splatters sort of kind of go across to that spot where you would just naturally want to have either a title or some journaling, since I already have the title on top of my photograph there. So now I have little bits left on my desk, and I believe I wanted to use them, and so I am using some foam there to sort of help that little puffy sticker, since there's so much stuff in my cluster that it kind of raises a little bit, so that way I can tuck different bits behind that. I'm putting that little floral piece on some foam so it sticks out as well, so again I can just tuck flatter embellishments behind it, and I like doing that because it gives the whole piece a lot of dimension. I'm adding a little chipboard piece there as well. And yeah, I think my layout is pretty much done. I am just looking to see what else I can add as little, just little flair, little embellishments. I'm not sure if I add any more of the epoxy heart stickers. I think I do. I add one by the Lovelies, and I think that's about it. I may have sprinkled some of the smaller epoxy hearts in different places, but that's basically my spread. So I really hope you all enjoyed this process. Like always, I will leave the Felicity Jane links in the description box down below. They are affiliate links, so if you do purchase anything through my link, I do get a small percentage of your sale. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!